Guess who's back? Back again. We is back. Tell a friend. Oh, now everyone report to the dance. I'm back. Bollocks!
Greetings, EastEnders fans, and welcome to another episode of Albert Square After Dark, your weekly EastEnders podcast. This week, discussing the episodes broadcast between the 26th and the 29th of June, 2023. How are you this week? Are you well? Are you? Good. I'm pleased to hear it. We've got a busy old week to discuss this week, and joining me, as usual, is the lovely Ree. Hello, Ree. How are you?
Hi, Rob. All good, thank you. How are you? You've had a busy week, haven't you?
I have had a busy week. If you follow me on Instagram at Robinus87, you
Nice
will
one.
know, thank you, you'll know that I had a bit of a trip this week. I went to Berlin because I'm that guy. It was between podcast episodes. Just set
You're
off
a
to Berlin.
traveller. You
I like travelling.
travel all the time, Rob.
Yeah, I try to. I like it. I went to Berlin this week. And I had a really nice time. What a great city. You ever been?
What's it like? I've never been. What's it like?
I was surprised by Berlin. I thought it was just going to sort of be like London with a German accent, you know?
Right, okay.
But like, it's really, even though it's quite big, it's also kind of quite quaint and almost Toy Townish. Like, they've got an underground.
Oh, that's nice.
But she's so much cleaner than the London one. Like, you know, when you go on the London
That's
Underground,
not hard, is it?
You feel like you need to have a wash just after being on one train. Not in Berlin. And they've got like overground, underground, wombling free. And it's just really nice. Really, really nice place. Really
is it Berlin that's
really
meant to be good for drinking and stuff and like craft beer and...
I certainly managed it. Let's put it like that.
You?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
many
good.
cocktails, much beer.
Brill.
Very drunk at some points, but hey, you're only youngish ones, right?
I'm glad one of us can still do it, Rob.
Yeah, I'll do it for you, Ree. I sort of thought I was doing. When I was there, I was thinking, right, I'll just drink for Ree now. That's fine. I've had enough, but I'll carry on drinking for Ree as if she was
that
here.
One extra one for me. Thank you.
Well, 5 extra. Right, so before we get started on this week, it is the start of a new month, Ree, and you know what that means.
Yeah, calendar change.
Time to change to Sharon. So we have gone from Sharon behind the bar to this is the bit, by the way, that really works well on audio. If you're only listening on audio, I know this is your favourite part.
Oh yeah, sorry.
We describe it as best we can, but if you want to see the calendar, just go onto YouTube, type in Albert Square After Dark, and you can see us in all our Technicolor glory. And don't be too disappointed by what I look like. Right, so we go from June to July. Phil and Sharon. Now, looks relatively recent. I don't know. Looks very intense, doesn't it? They're having a very intense.
They're holding hands.
I wonder maybe that might be around Peggy's death. Maybe I don't know.
Possibly.
Yeah, that's what I'd go for.
Something's happened, hasn't it? Phil looks quite.
It looks sad. That's what I mean. Like he looks sad. So that makes me think it might be Peggy.
And he's holding Sharon's hand. So
when doesn't he? So if you've got any idea about when that might be, stick it in the comment section below, but I reckon around Peggy's death.
Yeah, I think you could be right.
Right, so I'll stick that on the wall in a second, but we have had a busy old week in Albert Square this week, so shall we get on with discussing it?
Let's do it.
So, like I said, busy old week, and we should start it with discussing the funeral of Lola Pierce Brown. So the show had not wrung enough tears out of us over this story. One final push in our tear ducts before Lola is finally laid to rest. Did it get you?
Yeah, it did. And do you know what? I tried to watch it whilst I was doing something because I just wasn't prepared to... Well, I weren't prepared to cry. Well, I don't want to cry, so I'm going to try and occupy myself at the same time. And I still cried.
Didn't work.
So, well done.
Yeah,
well done.
I mean, it was a really, really good funeral. I mean, I think Lola has really had like such an amazing send-off for the type of storyline that she had, hasn't she? Like, they've really kind of thrown everything at it. And it's really, really been effective. But yeah, you weren't the only one that was struggling to go through it all this week. Billy was massively struggling. And But some really nice stuff with Billy this week, I thought. Like, he kind of had that moment, just the anger stage of grief, where he sort of had to go at everybody. Just like,
which I thought some of it was fair enough as well, to be fair. He needed to get it off his chest.
Yeah, I mean, turning around about Ben and saying, well, they only slept together because he didn't want to know if he was gay or not, which... as much as you could say that Ben does care about Lexi, and obviously he does care about Lexi, but back then that kind of was what happened. I think having a go at Jay was a little bit below the belt, but what can you do?
He had to get it all out. What did you think about him going to the chapel arrest, by the way? You remember at the start of the week, he was the one organising all the funeral bits and bobs. And then they kept saying, you've not been to see her yet, you've not been to see her yet. And I thought, what if you don't want to see her because not everybody does want to see her?
I was thinking about this, and I kind of thought because I've never seen a dead body before.
No,
I've never been in that situation. Fortunately, touch wood and all that. But I've never had a situation where, one day it will happen, but I've never had a situation where I've had to go and see an actual dead body in a chapel of rest. So I don't know how I deal with that. Obviously, if you live in Walford, you get trained with that. Like, you see a dead body about once a year at the very least.
Annually.
But I thought, but the whole chapel of rest thing was really, really nice. It was nice to even though she just had her eyes closed, it was nice to see Lola one last time in the flesh for us.
Yeah.
Daniel Harold has really raked it in with just kind of closing her eyes and just being asleep. It's a great way to earn money. It's a good job if you can get it.
Why not?
Her. She's earned it. She's earned her rest.
She actually has. Yeah.
Some also really nice stuff with Jay this week. I really liked that scene where he was drunk in the pub because it kind of showed a few different characters' sort of reaction to it, and again with what this era does, like really kind of strengthen that community feel. I really liked Gina having shots with him. I've
got a theory on that, but I'll mention that later on. Actually,
okay. And then the way Linda was like, "Oh, you're chucking me out." No, darling, you just don't need to have a hangover.
Yeah,
it was just really nicely
dealt with. It was
with.
nice. Yeah,
really nicely dealt with. But Billy, kind of like we say, was struggling and ended up going to Jamie's grave. Now that was nice. Jamie mentioned. We don't often get a Jamie.
That was a really nice nod to Jamie. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can kind of see Billy's thinking there because he was all right with Jamie by the end, but him and Jamie had a very rough relationship. When Billy first came in, so you can sort of see Billy's guilt just sort of piling up. He feels like he wasn't there enough for Lola. Reminded him of how he was with Jamie. It was just really, really nicely handled, and I like the fact that Jay and Phil knew exactly where to find him.
That's what I was just thinking. Yeah, I liked
really,
that.
Really good stuff. Then the funeral itself, just so kind of. Everybody kind of went off all dressed up in colourful stuff, and she had a nice.
Brilliant.
Phil's money. I don't know how much money Phil has got for funerals, but the Walford know how to send somebody off in style. Don't
Do you know how much funerals cost as well?
Quite a few pennies.
Like the most basic funerals, about £4,000 minimum. Maybe more for a very basic funeral. Honestly,
we're in the wrong business. Honestly, just put me in an incinerator and scatter me over the
cardboard
yard. That won't
box.
cost, that won't cost much.
I agree. It's ridiculous. Even that would cost money, though.
Even Lola's coffin, having it personally engraved like that, not just like a plaque, but like actually Lola carved into the coffin. How much is that going to set you back? Like, Phil must be a millionaire. But it was a really, really nice send off, and obviously everyone was all dressed up in colourful clothing, and I want to put an absolute shout out to Lexi and her video that she did, because a bit of behind the scenes fact that we got this week from Pete Lawson, the writer of that episode, was that Isabella Brown, I think her name is, she did that herself.
No way. You're joking, man.
No, she edited it herself, because I saw a bit of a few comments on going, as if a kid Lola's at Lexi's age could do editing that well. It was like, well, actually, let me tell you, if I can do it, Lexi can do it.
I'm surprised at that. I was thinking, that was very well edited. Well done! Wow, what a talent!
That shows but it also shows that like the availability for technology of these days, isn't it?
They're so good.
Kids are forking out all for the TikTok videos and doing all the editing and all that kind of thing. But it was a really, really, really nicely done video. I really enjoyed it. That's the bit that got me. I was all right up to
it. Were me, so I'm even more impressed that she did it herself. That's amazing.
To kind of think of a kid doing that, a kid Lexi's age having to do that for her own mum. It's one of those things that if you actually sit and think about it, that's when it gets you. Even though the image itself is quite sad, Once you kind of think about actually the context of it, it really gets you.
Yeah, definitely.
So that was really nice, and it's left Jay with some struggles as well, because she'd also done a little message for Jay at the end of the video that wasn't shown at the funeral, and sort of trying to encourage him to be happy and move on in life. And, which he wasn't sure how to deal with, was he? Bless him.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't. Although, before we get on to that, by the way, we do need to mention that Emma showed her face at the funeral.
Yes, she did. Very, very briefly. We saw Emma. We saw Lola's mum turn up. Now, interesting, because she was also dressed kind of quite colourfully. So she knew the dress code.
She had a very colourful bouquet of flowers as well,
turned up with a massive... Yeah, they were beautiful. Turned up with a massive bouquet of flowers. And then I thought it was interesting that Honey saw her, and she was like, when are you going to sit down? She said, no, I can't do this. And sort of ran away. Last time we're going to see it, or do you think we'll see Emma again? What do you think?
I don't know. Why have her there at all then for that brief moment if we're not going to see her again?
I mean, it would have
mentioned.
It would have felt wrong, I think, for her not to have made an appearance.
Yeah, true.
I was fully expecting to see her there, if I'm honest. I thought she might be there for a little bit longer. I thought someone might kind of chuck her out or something, or
she might stand at the back of the room, hoping no one would notice, and then go at the end.
Yeah, exactly. But then for it literally just to turn up for 5 seconds, almost like a Uber delivery, just sort of turn up, drop some flowers off.
Put them here, love. Don't want to interrupt.
Yeah. Sorry, I left them in your safe space by the bin. Sorry, I'll see you later. So I wonder if we might see her again, or whether that's literally it. Because it's interesting with Emma, because the way she left, it's not like she left with huge kind of shouty rows or arguments or anything.
No.
She gave a bit of a BS excuse as to why she wasn't staying around anymore, about a boss wanting her to go to America or something. Jay and Lola knew she was talking BS. She knew that they knew that she was talking BS. So it was just sort of just like, yeah, I can't do this. See you later. So I wonder if we might see her again, whether maybe Lexi might get in touch with her, or...
It's like you said before, something didn't quite feel right about her exit, did it? And wonder if there was things in real life that were going on behind the scenes. Like she was poorly, weren't she?
Yeah, I think she was. Was. So, I don't know. We might see Emma again, but if not, I'm glad that she turned up at the funeral. But
yeah, it was nice to have a little nod to her,
Yeah, watch this space. Meanwhile, the week kind of goes on with Ben and Jay trying to co-parent Lexi. Now, I'm not sure how this is going to go. I think this might be the start of a real struggle for their relationship, and maybe the kind of toughest sort of time that the two of them have had together. Because obviously it's Ben's kid, Lexi is Ben's, but Jay has been like a second father to her in terms of his relationship with Lola, or third, or fourth, you know. I mean, and you sort of wonder, like, how are Ben and Jay actually going to co-parent this? I think Callum will sort of be there and just like, right, come on, Lexi, I'll take you to the park while these two argue. But I don't know. How do you think this is going to work out?
Well, it's going to be a bit of a strange dynamic, because Jay will know what Lola would have wanted more than Ben. And Ben would often, you know, maybe not always agree with Lola, and they'd have the difficulties. So is it going to be that Jay's more bothered about honouring Lola, and he's now going to be the one who has to explain everything to Ben, or, you know, have that input that Lola would have had? Now he's got to do that with Ben, and now they're going to clash in that respect. I don't know, but then it's difficult because they're both acting like the fatherly figure, so there's that extra complexity involved.
Absolutely. But I also sort of think that Jay's got that added pressure on the fact that he knows that Lola wanted him to do this. Like, it wasn't just a case of like, when I die, I want Ben and Callum to look after him. Like, Lola explicitly wanted Jay to be part of Lexi's upbringing. So I think they're going to struggle. I think they might get on with it at the start and sort of muddle through, but I think further down the line they're really going to start.
Ben's got his issues as well, hasn't he? So
yes, that's also going on in the background, because Lexi has moved in with Dan and Callum. She's actually now finally done that, and because they can kind of see Jay struggling, they've offered for Jay to move in with them as well, because that flat's slowly turning into the TARDIS, as the EastEnders residents often do. And more and more people in quite a small little box of a flat.
I was thinking that a lot this week, actually.
Yes. But the problem is, of course, Ben's eating disorder continues. And he's now realised that, right, there's now a lot of people living here. How does this work?
How do I hide it?
How do I hide this? I wonder, actually, whether it's not going to be anybody in the flat that discovers this, but I wonder if Honey might notice some signs, because obviously Honey has got a history of eating disorders.
Oh, that's a very good point. Yeah, definitely.
And I'd like that. I would quite like that, because what that would also do, because I feel like Honey would then talk to Phil, and I love the Honey and Phil dynamic.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So I'd quite like to see that kind of play out that way.
And I was thinking that it might be Lexi who picks up on it, because
maybe, yeah.
When Ben were following her towards school, she said to him, "Oh, something's not right. That's not very like you, Dad. What's going on?" So
she knew he was
pick up on it.
Yeah, she knew he was following. She's got for a kid her age, she's got a lot of intuition, hasn't she, about her?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I
think her mum taught her well, bless her, didn't she? You know, all these little things to look out for. You know, when she dropped her purse outside the shop, was that because she knew Ben was watching her and it was to test whether he'd go and give it her?
Maybe.
Or did she just genuinely drop it?
Wouldn't put it past her for a second.
Yeah.
It was interesting, but also talking of that moment, another really nice moment was when Amy sort of spoke to her.
Oh yeah.
Likes that, because Amy sort of saying, "Look, I've been there, kid." Like, Amy,
if you want to chat,
this wise woman, like, "Oh yeah, I've been there with my mums. Yeah, I know it's annoying. The adults are annoying in this situation, aren't they? But if you want to talk, so you can talk to me. That's fine." Nice, likes that. Yeah,
very nice. Yeah. They're family as well, aren't they? I don't know how many cousins removed they are.
Twice removed, married. Yeah, probably.
Well, her dad and her mum were cousins.
So Roxy's mum. Yeah, I'm rubbish with that sort of the branches of
third
family.
Cousins, I'm going to say, I reckon.
Yeah, because her mum would have been
parents cousins.
Is Ben's auntie, so that's right. Isn't it?
Oh wait,
Auntie Roxy.
Oh no, you're right. Hang on.
So
no, she was Ben's second cousin, because Roxy's Phil's cousin.
No. Yes. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Roxy was Ben's second cousin.
Right.
Anyway, if you know the
there's people
tree,
screaming people screaming the answer.
I don't know anything past that.
I'm rubbish. I'm so rubbish at stuff like that.
I'm saying third cousin, but could be wrong.
They had a question like this on the 1% Club not so long ago, and I was like,
did they?
That's me. That's that then. That's me out. Right, I think that's about it for that storyline, isn't it? Do you think of anything else that we need to cover on that? I think that's about it for now.
No, and just it were a lovely send-off.
Really well
nice
done.
Barbecue. I liked that it wasn't all doom and gloom. I enjoyed the brightness of it. It felt very Lola, and it was a very nice way of honouring her.
Yeah, and I think the night, and also I thought it was nice. The Knights kind of did their job well there.
Yeah,
got involved, did their job well.
Mm-hmm.
The barbecue was nice. They did a good send off, so the Knights know what they're doing behind the bar of the Vic. So I think they'll settle in that role quite well. Marvelous, but we should discuss more on the Knights later on in the podcast. But from one exit in terms of Lola, we now speak of another exit. So, after just 1 year in the role, we have lost one of the Baker brothers. And, I mean, your thoughts on Finlay's exit, Tree? I mean, it's
I have a lot of thoughts on Finlay's exit.
Go for it. Let's have them. Have them.
So, obviously, this all happened because Vinny cut the brakes on Finlay's car.
Mm-hmm.
Subsequently, Ravi's then threatened Finlay, and it looks like Finlay wasn't giving up, because then Vinny's gone and aggravated him more. So then what happens is his stall gets ruined, right? His little food stall.
Yeah.
So why has nobody questioned why he's leaving, especially Keanu? Keanu knows that his brakes got cut.
Yeah.
And everybody knows that his stall got trashed.
Yeah.
Why is no one suspicious of why he's suddenly leaving and that maybe he's being threatened? Everyone's just like, oh, right, your sauce is selling in Dublin, of all places.
Of all the mad stories to come out with. What? So what? Your sauce, your special sauce, has got some massive company interested in it in Dublin, and you need to go and just make sure it's all right, like a sort of like sauce, Alan Sugar.
Oh, but somebody's come and trashed your stall and now you're leaving. That's got nothing to do with the sudden exit. You're leaving that night.
Who did that? A sauce competitor? Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're telling us?
Why was yours the only stall that was targeted in the middle of the day?
Yeah. It's a shame, actually, because it's one of those times where a character does nothing and then does the most that they'll ever do in the run up to their exit.
Right, because I was like, oh, you've got some.
I was actually getting interested. I was really interested in like what was going on with Finlay. I was like, oh, at last Finlay's getting some stuff to do. Fantastic. I was really enjoying it. The fact that he was quite happily like barging into the Panesar house. Not everybody would have the balls to do that, in all fairness. Storming into the Panesars, going toe to toe with Suki. And I was really also quite enjoying that bit of the old Suki coming back, because even though the Eve and Suki thing is nice and the vulnerabilities of Suki is nice. I do like kind of evil eyebrow arched Suki. It was nice to see it again, you know. And especially like the fact that he clearly wasn't scared of Vinny. I approved of that. You know, when Vinny went up to the marketplace, it was sort of just like, you've done good not going to the police. And Vinny kind of just held up the necklace and was like, yeah, but I can at any minute.
Yeah, and he called him Scrappy Doo, which was absolute genius. I love that.
And then like Vinny just runs over to Ravi like a slaps little child and was like, I made things worse.
I made it worse.
Oh, Vinny. I mean, this is what I mean. I know he's an irritant. I know he's so annoying at the moment. I can't hate Vinny. I can't.
No, I can't.
Because he's just so incapable.
Like
he tried to be the big man, literally got whacked with a fly swatter and had to go running to Ravi. Like, I've made things worse. I can't do it. I can't be a criminal. So Ravi had to deal with it. Suki is literally at the stage with Vinny now. She's like, oh, for God's sake, yes, stop it. I'll sort it. Yes, I'll get Ravi. I need to go and kill someone.
But
go off.
Also, what was important with Finlay is he clicked very quickly that there was something potentially going on between Suki and Eve.
I'm not quite sure how he landed on that, I'll be honest. It was sort of just like, it's like his head literally went, oh, right, well, Eve's a lesbian, so that must mean that you and her are in a relationship. It sort of was it was a little bit like, you know, the phrase putting two and two together. It was like he sort of put 1.8 and 2.7 together to come up with 4. You know what I mean? Like, it was a little,
I know what you're saying.
If that's maths, I don't. You know what I mean?
It can be.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
This is why I present a podcast, and I'm not on countdown.
4.
Yes. Let's go for that. But yeah, so it was frustrating, I think, because again, like a good little bit of a good few scenes of Finlay, and literally the most he's done since he's arrived. And now he's off, and they've kind of said that, that's him done. That's Finlay done. Off he goes to live in Dublin. I mean, it's a shame, I think. Obviously, out of the two brothers, you know, Felix was the more interesting, just by the fact that they gave him a little bit more to do, and they gave him a little bit more character, and they kind of... But it was kind of like, I was kind of frustrated with the fact that, you know, obviously everything that went on with the Knights this week, we found out quite a bit about Gina's personality and a bit about... And what we learned about Gina this week was more that we've learned about Finlay in the whole year that he's been there.
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, what was the whole point of them finding that necklace in the car as well? Like, what? It feels like they were maybe going to lead up to something, and then they went, but we're not going to renew his contract actually. So scrap that.
Yeah.
Like, they've been working on this car. Emily's just took it for him. So what point in that?
Yeah, you can't tell me
something in background from today.
Yeah, you can't tell me that. I would be very shocked if they knew that Finlay was exiting this week, so that's why they brought the car in all of those months ago. Because we'll leave that there for when Finlay exits. That's rubbish. That's not a thing. That's not what happened.
No,
I don't know. It's a shame. It is a shame because it's just frustrating that they just never did anything with him.
No, there were a lot of potential, like we saw past week, the most he's ever done.
Yeah.
And he could have been a really good character, somebody who stood up to people like he already has this week. I mean, he weren't even scared of Ravi. He's only gone
Not really, was he?
They threatened Felix. That's the only reason he's left.
Exactly. So, like, if you were just threatening me, then bring it on. Like, because you sort of like, why did you cut my brakes? Like, what's your issue with me? And then sort of tried to work out a few other little things from there. So there was a lot of potential there. And
do you think Keanu might figure it out? Sorry, do you think Keanu might figure it out with the brakes?
I don't know. I kind of got the impression that that's going to be it for that. I mean, because by the next day,
no, go on.
No, well, just by the next day, like Felix was kind of over it. Like you can tell he was quite gutted that his brother was leaving on the episode that he left. But the next time he was all dressed up as Tara.
Is that right?
Yeah, life goes on. Life goes on. Oh, we'll move Zach in. Yeah, that works. So that's the mortgage paid for. Marvellous. Yeah, sorted.
Done.
Bish, bash, on we go.
Yeah, true. That's everything tied up.
Yeah.
But what I did think, right, Keanu kept going up to Finlay and saying, have you called the police yet? Have you called the police yet? Right?
Yeah.
Is that not the garage's responsibility? It's your garage that got broken into or whatever and had the brakes tampered with.
Absolutely.
So why is it you not reporting it?
Yeah, absolutely. But then this is also Keanu, who Sharon had to hire an accountant for because she realised how rubbish she was going to be at it.
Oh, so right, okay. So I can sort of assume...
Yeah.
Surely he's mentioned it to Sharon, but anyway, I just thought that alone were a bit odd that he wouldn't go and report it.
The most that I think we're going to get out of this going forward maybe is the fact that Keanu will connect it with Ravi and it might restart that again. Because obviously he's had a run-in with Ravi already, quite a big run-in with Ravi. And that's not really been mentioned since that happened.
It's not. No.
So I wonder if it might kind of roll back into that again. Like, obviously Ravi is the sort of character who needs to build up more and more enemies. So, because obviously he's going to be a perfectly valid suspect for being on the floor on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
So you can kind of see that they might want to start a few wheels in motion for that, give Ravi a few more enemies. So maybe it might not be the end of this mention, but it did kind of feel like, right, we need to get rid of this character. Right, that's how it's happening. See you later. Let's not talk about that again. It's a shame. Yep. I don't know. We'll see we'll see if anything comes from it. I mean, it might. And where does Felix go from here? Do you think that this might be a chance for Felix to step forward? Or
I did wonder that, because now what is he going to do there? But that's because we don't know Felix well enough either. So maybe we're going to see more of his character. I mean, we've started seeing bits, but again, nothing too deep there. Really, we've just seen It's odd performance this week.
It's odd as well because it feels like I mean they came in the week that Clen has arrived, so you kind of credit them as being sort of a Clenshaw creation, the brothers. But for them to have come in on the week that Clenshaw's name first appeared on the credits as executive producer, I don't know whether they were a follow-on period from the John Senate.
Yeah, so we're already lined up.
So maybe he didn't know what to do with that. I don't know. It's tricky. It's sometimes tricky to sort of know who to credit for which when there's a producer crossover. So I don't know. But shame.
On Felix as well, right? Why is he being so harsh to Zach and calling him granddad? Like, since when's Zach been a granddad though?
To be fair, I thought that. I mean, Felix had the sort of thing I would say, just to be an arsehole.
Okay.
And because I do think that Zach and Felix have quite a nice relationship. Like when the boys first came in, if you remember, Felix instantly was kind of like, well, you're hot. You're clearly straight, but you're hot. And I was kind of hoping that they might keep that going, because just to give Zach and Felix this nice little friendship where Felix clearly fancies the hell out of Zach because he's got eyes. And Zach's absolutely fine with that, and they have just a nice little banter between the two of them. So I hope that continues, and we got a bit of that this week when Felix was making Zach do the waiting in the buff, and they had a bit of a flirt together with him as Tara. That was quite nice. I quite like it. You know, again, it's these things that's been really strengthened in this era with like friendships and relationships and sort of and stuff like that. But yeah, it's now just going to go on minus Finlay, and again, it's sort of like, you know, the brothers thing that's gone. That the fact that they came in as brothers in itself is storyline potential.
Yeah, they came in as a pair, didn't they? No, it didn't quite feel right that one of them's left.
It's weird, isn't it?
And that Felix isn't questioning it more. Like, you're both still in that grieving process of your dad and stuff. Yeah. Like, why are you not?
You would kind of think that he at some point, so what? You're going to Dublin to sell sauce. And where are you getting the money to? And where are you getting the money to do that? How are you affording?
And how have you just given us that money as well? Like, they mentioned that he'd given them some towards rent, and stuff.
Yeah, bit odd. Well, I mean, we'll see if it goes anywhere, but I don't think it will. Think it will, but we'll see what happens. Right, ladies and gents, so let's move on to the next story. Kim's anxiety worries have continued, and she is getting worse, isn't she? Now, weirdly, with this week, we discover that she's actually gone to the stage, and now she's put trackers on people's phones. She's put a tracker on Pearl's phone. I think she's put one on Howie's phone, which
Pearl,
is
Denzel, and Howie,
and Denzel. I mean, for a start, how do you do that? Is that can I put a tracker on your phone? Love to know where you go.
I think that there's apps. I think there's apps, you know, for parents and stuff.
That's mad, isn't it?
Very big.
For parents, but sticking it on your boyfriends, that's a bit odd. Like, how do you do that? Yeah. I mean, presumably she knows his passcode, but that's, oh dear.
No, but that's true. Yeah, she's had to go on the phones to do it as well. That's how she has done it.
Poor Kim.
Or she just put a little device in all the rucksacks or something.
Yeah, just put a little bug in there. It's a bit of a worry for Kim at the moment. She is really, really struggling because she's got the court case coming up. And her anxiety is getting worse. She had a bit of a nasty moment with Denise this week, I think. Like she's really, really struggling. So it's kind of wonder where this is going to go. Like, how bad is this going to get for Kim? It is nice to see Tamika Epson have a serious storyline to tackle, because obviously, as good as Kim is as comedy and as funny as Kim is, she can do the serious acting better than as well as anybody else on that show. So it's nice to see, and it is an interesting storyline to give someone like Kim. Sort of like the shows nicely that anyone can get anxiety, anybody can suffer from mental health problems. And I think it's quite interesting as well that they keep bringing up the fact that she's on a list, because so often when it comes to like the medical sort of issues on soaps, the characters will go private. Like they'll get someone to pay for them to go private. Like Freddie, when he got
that's all I'm thinking is just saying
sold a telly to go private. I don't know how much that telly was worth, but I bet it's.
I was going to say, and I don't think it would have still paid.
Would have covered it, would it?
Diagnosis,
I doubt it would have covered it, but But it's sort of, it speeds up the process of the storyline, doesn't it? Oh, we'll just go private. Whereas they don't seem to be going down this route with that. And I think that's interesting because it shows that, you know, the longer that these people have to wait, the longer that people with anxiety issues and everything else like that are on these lists, then the worse it gets. And it's a vicious circle.
I did wonder though, because Howie mentioned it to Denise and he said, obviously we can't afford to go private. So is that a hint that Denise is going to try and get the money for them to go private, or is that just them saying, no, we can't, that's not an option for us? Yeah,
maybe, but I'd kind of like them not to do that, just to sort of show what it is like for someone to have to wait, on the list. It's interesting because so we'll sort of see where Kim ends up, but she's certainly not in a good place right now. Talking of bad places, Denise and Jack, you kind of got the impression that they had sort of righted themselves and were back on track a little bit, but that certainly wasn't the impression we got this week. Because I thought Jack was a bit of an arsehole this week, in all honesty. I didn't think he was.
Yeah, he were.
Yeah,
completely out of line. I mean, Denise has clearly got a lot going on, but he's so obsessed with his own stuff that he can't see that she's got a other family that she needs to be there for as well, and a business that she's running.
I mean, I love the fact that, he was getting ready to like go to this therapy session. This is a family session. The kids are both like, oh, do we have to? Oh, ball.
Oh, let's talk about our feelings again, shall we?
Can't wait. I quite like that.
Like, they're bored with it.
It was Amy's idea. Yeah, it was Amy's idea, and now Amy's just like, I can't be asked. We're fine, aren't we? Like, we're sorted now. Like, why do we have to talk about our feelings for? I've already seen my mum. I don't need to do anything else. I'm fine. But yeah, do you see a future for Denise and Jack? Do you reckon they're going to get back on track, or do you reckon this might be it for them?
I don't understand where this is going. This little bit of difficulty again, unless it's. I'm not sure. I think. Oh well, it's something that I'd mention later on, but I think we're going to see that Denise is struggling as well. Actually, maybe both Denise and Kim, because Denise were obviously saying like, I feel like I'm doing everything and I'm being pulled in all directions, she said to Jack, didn't she? And I did think it's quite interesting that no one spotted that. Like it were quite subtle, I thought. But yeah, I don't know where they're going to go. I don't know whether they're going to last or not, because it depends whether Jack's going to carry on being like this, really, doesn't it?
Well, yeah. But bear in mind, of course, you've always got to keep thinking further down the line that we know Denise is there on Christmas Day. So you've got to sort of wonder, how does Denise get there? How is Denise involved in all of this? Now, obviously, as we've said, Ravi is a suspect of the being a body. So, it did kind of feel like the Jack and the Denise and Ravi thing has sort of been kind of put to a close now, because they've not had any interaction since the big weeks that we had previously. So I wonder if that's going to rear its head again, because clearly it's still an issue for Jack. Clearly Jack is still very hurt and very angry by the fact that she had this affair. And is not really it doesn't seem to be kind of saying, I did bad stuff too, because he's Jack and doesn't do that. He's a Branning. They're very bad at doing that. There was very much essences of Max in Jack this week. I thought he's turning into his brother slowly but surely, which he would hate. Interesting. Yeah. So we'll see where all of that goes. But yeah, I think Kim is going to really struggle with the court case coming up, and she's got a ridiculous lawyer. Honest to God, that guy is incompetent. It's like I wouldn't even say he's come out of law school. He doesn't seem like he's even gone to law school. It's like they found an advert on Facebook with a guy that was offering really cheap services because he dared charge anything more for what he can provide. And just turns up and tries to do a stand-up comedy routine for them, essentially. It's like all joking and laughing. And he's getting the impression that the outcome for this isn't gonna be too harsh, when in reality, if he's this incompetent, she's off to prison for 6 years, the way it's going.
Well, this is what I wondered, if that's where this is heading, because obviously he comes in and he's like, I was thinking about you in bed last night. Appropriate, of course.
Yeah.
And then it's like he had this amazing idea that a lawyer should have thought of maybe a week, not Sorry. Sooner than a week before the court case, which is next week.
Yeah.
Right. And then it's,
yeah.
I've thought of this great idea. Why don't we get a character reference? Oh, yeah. Why don't you think about that?
Most basic, like surely the most basic thing that you can possibly think of. Oh, yeah. You need a character. This will sort this out. You need a character. I'm a genius. I am a lawyer genius. They should stick me on House of Cards. I am a genius.
Exactly.
And that's the other thing, of course. Denzel is going to give a character statement for Kim. So Denzel going to have to stand up in court. I think a lot of this is sort of setting up really for some slightly bigger scenes coming up for Kim's court case. How Kim's going to deal with it. How Denzel's going to cope with it. But yeah, we'll see where it goes. But
I think it's going to end quite badly for her because this lawyer, if he's only just picked up on that, he's not going to think, oh, maybe I should look at the impact that this has had on Kim so that we can show. All this guilt and anxiety that she's been feeling since demonstrates genuine remorse. He's not going to think of that, is he? He's only just thought about a character statement a week before. So
that's worrying, isn't it?
I have a feeling it might be a worse result than we're expecting.
I think you might be right. I mean, if I was Denise, I'd at least have gone to Phil and go, right, so I'm the mother of your kid. Yeah, you're lawyer that gets everybody off everything. I need Richie. I need Richie to deal with Kim, please.
That's true.
And Phil wouldn't have a leg to stand on because he's helped Kim give birth, and he has given the pair of them no end of aggro because of Raymond. So they should have gone to Phil and asked for Richie.
And he's got a safe in his house that's got endless cash.
Endless cash. So we'll see where it goes. But let us know in the comment section below, where do you think this is going? How is this going to end for Kim? Is she going to prison? Is this lawyer going to be able to help her at all? I think we all know probably not, because he's useless. But we'll see. Right, final story of the week is The Knights. So we'll finish this week with discussing The Knights, and we are starting to drip feed a little bit more info into what is to come. This is very exciting. So George obviously has now discovered that Rose is not who she said she was, and he has been basically married to a liar for years and years. And he doesn't deal with this particularly well, but Anna ends up finding out. And then she ends up telling Gina. Now, the Gina discovering this was the interesting part because we sort of learned a little bit more about Gina this week in the fact that she has drug issues. And it seems that any sort of stress that she goes through, she runs straight to a drug dealer. And if you need drugs in Walford, they are very, very easy to find.
Just go to Peggy's.
Let's go to Peggy's.
I don't think it was Anna who told her. It was actually Elaine who told her in the end.
That's true. Yes. Yeah, but she
Anna
kind of got hints. Yeah. Gina didn't deal with this well at all. She went on a bender and then immediately got on the Charlie, and I don't mean Slater or Cotton. Hey. So can you do that for EastEnders slang? Oh, I had a night on the Slater. I don't think it works, does it? Doesn't work. Doesn't work. Charlie. So she likes a bit of a line of coke, does Gina?
Do you know what? I love Gina. I know that they get a lot of flack online. Yeah, I think she's a great character, and I like this. I like this side as well. It feels realistic. It feels like very believable that this is something that she'd do.
I'm a big fan of the sisters. I'm really, really liking them, and it feels weird to be saying I'm a big fan of the sisters when I've been campaigning for the sisters to return for years and years.
That's true.
We have new sisters in at the moment.
Another little parallel actually with the. Kirby.
Yeah, that's true because Roxy had a. That's very true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I just made that connection. Yeah.
See, this is why I gave you this job, Brie. I knew you'd be good. I knew you'd. This is why you're here. So interesting. And you had a bit of a theory about where this might be going, didn't you?
Well, I realised earlier in the week that Jay was in the pub and he was getting quite friendly with Gina. I didn't think, quite platonic. They were having shots together. And I've seen a little thing online. I don't think this is a spoiler.
I don't think it's a massive spoiler. No, to say that Jay.
I did check with Rob first because I didn't want to spoil.
Because you know how in charge I am. Oh, and how much I order rearrange. I have to.
I have to check everything I say with Rob
everything has to be kind of drip fed to me so I can approve it. Yeah.
So I saw that Jay's to strike an unlikely friendship after Lola's passing, and I wondered if him and Gina may become friends because we know that Jay's had a little bit of a problem with drugs in his past.
Jay has a history of drugs, yes.
And I don't see that this mention with Gina this week's just going to be the end of it either. So I wondered, is this the unlikely friendship perhaps that Jay's going to strike up with Gina?
Yeah, I mean...
Just be me
I think that's very possible. However, my only thing with that is that I would look at that and think, is it unlikely that Jay and Gina would become mates in that respect? I mean, she's quite flighty as Gina. She's quite fiery. She's quite sort of, not afraid to sort of throw herself into sort of party mode, bender mode, and all that. And I kind of feel like maybe that is maybe a bit of antithesis to Jay. Like he's a bit more of a sort of stay at home, sort of enjoy a bit of Antiques Roadshow in his slippers. It's sort of bloke, isn't he?
So he's quite a bit older though, isn't he? So could be unlikely in that respect.
Not that much older. Not that much older, I don't think. He's in his 20s. Gina must be in her 20s.
Oh, is it?
So yeah. I don't think
he was nearly 30
late 20s. Late 20s.
Yeah.
He'll be in his he'll be at the very most. He'll be in his early 30s, I think. But yeah, it's very possible. And yeah, the drug history, because I've always thought that might be a good thing for Jay to revisit at some point, and nothing's going to push him.
Especially in this.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing's going to push him into that mode again, other than losing Lola and what he's having to go through at the moment, and the stress and all that kind of thing. So yeah, the fact that Gina is sort of has quite a par chance for the same sort of drug as Jay used to enjoy. Yeah, I think you might be onto something there. Really interesting. Stick a pin in that. We will see how that goes. Because I did enjoy actually how when Jay was getting drunk at the pub, Gina was doing the shots with him, which I thought was quite good actually. Because I feel like it's better to do that than just leave him drinking on his own. So I quite admired that about Gina. I was like, fair play, girl. I like you. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that too.
You say that the girls get some slack. You get some flack online. They do, but I think only in the sense is because they're new. I don't get the impression that it's because people are just instantly not liking them. I think it's just the fact that they have been thrust into the Vic, so we're being forced to sort of like, oh, right, okay, so these are characters we need to pay attention to. And sometimes people just don't like that. They just like to sort of get to know people as they move rather than them being first and foremost. Because Anna got her first Duff this week. The girls, well, no, I think she shared a Duff, but she got her first solo Duff this week, didn't she? Gina, I don't think has had one on her own yet, but Elaine's had one, George has had one, so Gina's going to get one at some point. And it takes a while normally for new characters to get their first Duff. So I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, the knights themselves. Once Gina has discovered this, there is a locket going around now. Then, did you know the relevance to the dates that was on the locket?
I assumed it was Lucy and Peter's birthday.
Oh, well, you assume right, Tree. You assume right, of course. So that's interesting actually, because we've sort of been theorizing. 9 years ago was when Cindy left them. And that would have been when Lucy died. And the fact that she's got a locket with Peter and Lucy's birthday on kind of suggests very much that the Lucy's death thing is going to be relevant moving forward.
Oh, so maybe that's why she was struggling at the time with George 9 years ago. Maybe she'd just heard about Lucy. And then she started acting up because she couldn't tell George what had really happened.
It still doesn't answer really where she went, though, does it? Or why she had to go at that moment? Because you could understand it if, like, Cindy had then made a reappearance on the square, and that had been when Cindy first reappeared. True. But it wasn't. Cindy didn't return then. So what was she doing? Like, where did she go? Because it's not like she went straight to Ian, because Ian didn't meet her again until years later after Lucy's death. So there's still a lot we need to answer about Cindy. And what I can reveal, which I don't think is too much of a spoiler, because the show has sort of announced that it's going to happen. We're going to get a lot more information about what Cindy actually got up to in the form of maybe a few flashbacks, in the form of maybe some dramatized sort of a little bit of format playing around with, but it's going to all be in the spirit of EastEnders, because that's the key factor of it. So we've got a lot of questions still to answer about what Cindy's been up to, how she met up with Ian again, how Peter reacted to finding out that she was still alive. So we've got a lot more to come there. Drop your pen. So I'm interested to see all that, because there are still so many questions that need answering. But it seems that Detective Anna is on the case, because she's very much interested in sort of what the locket represents. She's interested in, and I quote, finding someone smart to deal with it and to sort of work it out.
I wonder who that'll be that she's going to rope in to help her. Any ideas, Rob?
Well, I mean, her and Bobby are getting much, much closer, and Bobby is messaging Peter. Peter kind of told him this week that, I can't come to the wedding because I've got stuff on. I'm dealing with some stuff at the moment. The fact that my mum's alive, all that kind of thing. So there's a lot of threads to be pulled at this, and it's really, really interesting. I do think that Cindy will make her ultimate return on Kathy and Rocky's wedding. I think what will happen is that Ian will come back for the wedding, Peter will come back for the wedding, and he's not going to tell Cindy that's what he's gone for. He's going to have had a work thing that he's got to go away with. Cindy will not believe him and will follow him to Walford, and then we'll stroll into the Vic, have a big reveal, big shock, Cindy's still alive, and then see her daughter standing behind the bar of the Vic. Is where I
the kind of interesting direction. Because how are Cindy and Ian going to return? Because Ian looked like he didn't want to tell Cindy that he's seen that his ex-partner and daughters are at the Queen Vic, unless he's going to soften and go, do you know what, she needs to see her daughters, let's just go back to Walford.
I doubt that very much, because it's Ian, isn't it? And he's not worried about the daughters. I think he's more worried about the fact that George is still there, and he feels
6 foot odd boxer.
Exactly. Like Ian knows full well he's no competition for that, and that's why he's going to try and keep Cindy away from George and thereby her daughters. So I think it's going to be the case that Ian will go back. He might even say, after Mum's wedding, you don't need to come, dear. You stay here and look after the baguettes, and I'll go there. And Cindy will discover something or get suspicious, follow him, and that's how they'll all end up back in Walford, is my thinking. And she will have much to discover when she gets back, because Bobby and Anna are getting closer, I think. And they're sweet. They're sweet. I like them together.
They are. Yeah, I like them as well.
And I like this. Yeah, they do make sense. And I kind of like this whole sort of awkward thing that Bobby's got going on, where he has no idea how to do this. I don't think it's adorable. I really do. But it sort of makes sense as to why Dana was axed, really, doesn't it? Because
that's true. Yeah,
it was a bit of a mystery to me why they decided to axe Dana, because she hadn't done a huge amount, but her and Bobby were really, really good together, and it kind of gave Harvey that little kind of extra layer as well. And we've not seen much of Harvey since Dana left, to be fair. But it kind of explains why, doesn't it? Because obviously Anna and Bobby were going to become a thing, so. And then that opens the floodgates to all the madness that's going to occur, because Bobby's in for some hell. I don't care what anyone says. Cindy is going to make his life a living hell when she gets back, and I feel for him already.
But when Ian mentioned Bobby to Cindy in that episode, she didn't seem like she couldn't stand hearing his name or anything.
Yeah, it's weird.
A reaction.
Yeah, I don't know. There's again, there is so much to scratch away out here. There are so many things that we are yet to sort of learn about what Cindy's thinking, about where Cindy's brain is at, what she's actually up to, who she actually wants to come back for. Because there's no way on hell that she has come back just for Ian. Like there's a lot more that she needs to do. So yeah, very, very interesting. But yeah, the nights themselves are great. They're a delight, I think, at this stage. Like I'm really enjoying Anna. I'm really enjoying Gina. And Elaine, I think, is really settled in nicely as well. I'm enjoying her and George again. So I'm enjoying it. What do you think?
Can I be honest?
Of course you can.
Be honest here.
Of course you can.
Elaine is grating on me. I get that she's supposed to be quite theatrical. But I needed to calm it down a little bit.
Down a level.
Yeah. But I think it's still fine. They're finding the feet with the character. I get that. And they're still relatively new. So they're all going to be a little bit maybe exaggerated. But I do sometimes go, oh, calm down. Like when her and George, because obviously her and George haven't been great this week, have they?
No.
With her revealing to Gina what had gone on, and then her being upset. Well, you never told me that she'd had a drug problem. So why would I know that's the reason you didn't want me to tell her that she was going to potentially go off on a bender? And then there's the argument, and I just thought, oh, calm down. I don't know. I got a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I like her, but I understand that viewpoint.
I like her, but it's just that side. I think. Don't get me wrong. I do like a character.
Yeah. She's very theatrical, but that's kind of. It's difficult because someone being in charge of the Vic, that's sort of what we've become used to, in a way. I mean, Linda has never been that theatrical, but you kind of always think of the woman who's in charge of the Vic being quite this sort of big, like flamboyant woman. Not that Peggy was ever flamboyant, but Peggy was camp as a row of tents in a lot of ways, So you sort of. You kind of come to expect that. I do get what you mean, but I think Elaine will sort of settle into the role. I
think she will.
I don't look at her and think, we've got a problem here. That it's a case of, I think, just getting used to her. Actress settling in, character settling in. When they get a bit used to how it'll be fine. I think. I think once the dust has settled of this whole, basically, it's a big resurgence of what's going on at the Vickers in the minute, and there's a huge storyline going on around them. So I think once everything is ticking into place and everything is going on, you'll look back at this time and think, oh, what was I worried about? All will be fine.
Yeah.
All will be fine. But what do you think?
Okay.
Are the nights settling in for you? Are you enjoying them? Who's your favourite night? Who's your least favourite night? Let us know in the comment section below. That's about it for storyline discussion this week, I think. Ree, who is your gold star going to this week?
I know who my gold star's going to because I'm prepared.
Well done. Very proud.
I'm actually going to say Lexi this week, I think. I knew. I told you.
Yeah, you did say. Yeah.
I think Lexi and Isabella Brown as well. Like,
absolutely,
you know, both the character and actress. Hearing that as well, that she created that video is just incredible, amazing.
The best honor we can bestow is our gold star.
Yes.
It's like the gold Blue Peter badge. Yes. Yeah. So 2 gold stars for Lexi this week. Absolutely right. We will now, ladies and gentlemen, move on to a bit of news. We have an announcement of a returning character. So let's get on with that. Right, ladies and gentlemen, spoiler alert, spoiler siren, Nina. Because we have had another return announcement, and I'm very excited. So if you don't want to know, see you next week. Because it has been almost 6 years since she last stepped foot in Albert Square, but Yolandi Truman is on her way back to Walford as Angela Winter has reprised her role. Yolandi's back, ladies and gentlemen. Yolandi's character remains connected. This is according to the EastEnders Facebook page. Yolandi's character remains connected to Walford, having first landed on our screens in 2003 as Patrick's love interest before later becoming his wife. However, it was a job offer she couldn't refuse that led to Yolandi leaving, but Patrick changed his mind at the last minute, choosing Albert Square over his wife, and the pair later divorced in 2009. Having briefly reprised her role in 2017, Yolandi is heading back to Walford to reunite with ex-husband Patrick, who went searching for her at the start of the year, but viewers will have to wait and see if it's a happily ever after for the couple. On returning to EastEnders, Angela Winter has said, Yolandi is back in the square. I've been really looking forward to playing her again and can have a beautiful time on set so far. I can't thank the cast and crew enough for the warm welcome back. And the wonderful Chris Clenshaw has said, I'm thrilled to welcome the immensely talented Angela back to the role of Yolandi. Although we haven't seen Yolandi for some years, her departure from the square and the breakdown of her marriage to Walford's living legend Patrick left some unfinished business between the pair. We therefore thought it was important to explore a reunion between the two. We couldn't be more thrilled to have her back. I could not agree more. Yay!
Massive Yolandi fan.
I am delighted. I mean, this is interesting because, you know, obviously this is why Patrick went away, because he wanted to sort of, and I kind of thought, well, no, it's just an excuse. You know, he's just on a break. Yeah. It's a good excuse to get him away, and he'll come back and say, yeah, no, she weren't interested. But it was all for a real, as if we had any doubt, you know.
We need to stop doubting Clenners,
stop doubting him, honestly. Apart from in the Finlay respect, we need to stop doubting him, you know. It's good. It's good. I mean, yeah, I absolutely loved Yolandi. I've been wanting her to come back for many, many years. So I'm really, really pleased about that. I mean, memories of Yolandi of just the fact that her feud with Pat, I adored. I thought it was so funny. She's great.
Just a brilliant, powerful woman, isn't she, to have on the square?
Yeah.
And I'm actually wondering, obviously, Denise is showing signs of struggling at the moment. Obviously, now she's going to be trying to put some time into Kim as well, because Kim's got, let's say, worse struggles than Denise right now. So I wondered, would this be a nice time for Yolandi to come back and she can now mother the two women a little bit as well and be there for all the Fox family? I think that'll add a nice little dynamic to what's going on.
It's interesting now because obviously, yes, you're right. She's got all of that to come back to, and her and Patrick can sort of write in everything that's going on because they have that power. But also is the fact that the last time we saw Yolandi in 2017, Yolandi was working at head office for the Minute Mart. Now, obviously, the Panasars have that. And we had a brief phone call between Suki and Yolandi, I think last year or something like that, So I can see them being a bit of an issue between Yolandi and Suki, which I would welcome with open arms.
Yes, amazing.
The two of them would be amazing on screen together.
Yolandi and Suki feud.
Yes, please.
Brilliant. Bring it on. Don't let them get on. Please. Don't let them get on. We don't want them to get on.
I want them deadly enemies.
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. I am thrilled about that. That is fantastic news. Yeah, let us know in the comment section below. Thoughts on Yolandi returning. It's exciting, right? I can't wait. She's one of those characters that's sort of like, yeah, she's not like the biggest character like return that's ever happened ever, but she has got like, she had a massive fan base, Yolandi, so it's really good news. I'm really happy about that. Can't wait for that. And I think Patrick returns in the next few weeks, so presumably he will come with Yolandi. I mean, again, shame that that couldn't, imagine if like Patrick had turned up and then Yolandi just appeared behind her and we didn't know she was coming back. But I think the Cindy thing has proven that is a lot harder to do than we give them credit for, in all fairness. So
I think all it takes is somebody to spot them going on to set or whatever, and then that's it. I mean, how can you really hide that other than putting them in elaborate disguises?
Well, they tried that with Cindy and Ian, and it still got leaked. There's pictures of Cindy and Ian like sort of in Adam and Michelle rather, in like sort of balaclavas and black hoodies. They tried their damnedest to keep that a secret, and it's still leaked.
Such a shame.
Yeah, it is a shame, but yeah, fantastic. Can't wait. Any comments this week, Ree? What have you got for me?
Yeah, I've got one from somebody called African Melody on our YouTube channel who says, Eve does whisper a lot. It gets to me as well. Haha. So what do you think to that one, Rob, after last week?
Out of all the comments that you could have chosen, you chose that one, did you? Just to prove your point. Yeah.
I did indeed. Because
I will say,
Rob had an issue with me talking about Eve's whispering last week.
I just said it because I didn't notice it.
No,
I never noticed
he micromanages everything I say, you see. Right, and I have to get his approval.
Wrong. The thing is, I'd never noticed this with Eve's whispering, and then you said that, and everyone, loads of comments on YouTube going, yeah, I noticed Eve's whispering.
I wasn't expecting that many people, but thank you everyone for backing me up.
I mean, I'm not. The annoying thing is now I'm not going to be able to unhear this now. So the next time I see Eve, it's gonna hit my ears. Well,
that's what we're all already like. So welcome to our world, Rob.
I was going along quite happily, not realizing that Eve was a whisperer. I was enjoying my life in the non-Eve whispering life, and now it's not. That's been ripped away from me, and I'm not going to be able to unhear it.
Sorry.
I mean, fair enough. If it's a thing, then fair play, and I'll definitely notice it now. I mean, it doesn't take anything away from Heather Peace, of course, because Heather Peace is amazing.
No, or Eve, I love Eve. It's just that's a little.
But it's a thing. It's a thing. It's a thing. Fair enough. But yes, all right. I concur. I hold my hands up. It's a thing. Fair play. Well, our last comment is from Joe 2, who has been talking about the Finlay exit. This is a bit disappointed. The writers didn't really use his potential. His exit was daft too. He'll probably come back in a few years wearing a new head. Maybe. I agree though. It is disappointing about Finlay.
It is really.
Yeah, it's a shame. The most frustrating sort of character exit is when literally nothing has been done with them. So it was kind of like, well, what was the point in you from start to finish? Rather than, if they give a character a story and you're sort of watching it and thinking, yeah, this isn't working. For whatever reason, this isn't working. Like the character doesn't feel interesting, or performances aren't quite there, or, a number of reasons. But they've just literally given Finlay nothing to do. So it just seems a great shame. It is a great shame, but
I hope he doesn't return with a new head though, because I don't think there was anything wrong with the actor. If I'm honest with you, I just don't think they gave the character enough.
Yeah, I thought this week he actually delivered what he was given. So. Yeah, there we are then. Right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for another week. If you would like to get in touch with us and send us a comment or a question or a bit of feedback on the podcast, we are always listening. We read every single comment on YouTube and Instagram that we can. Obviously they come in quite quickly, but we try our best to read them and interact with them. But Ree, if they want to do that, how can they do it?
You can find us on Facebook, on Albert Square After Dark, on Twitter and Instagram at E20 After Dark. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe. You can listen to us on Apple and all your favorite podcast sites. Email us at e20afterdarkpodcast@gmail.com.
Beautiful. Boom. That's it for another week, ladies and gentlemen. We hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. We will be back same time next week. Until then, it's goodbye from me.
Bye from me.
Goodbye. Bye.